I am Choki van der Merwe, admin clerk of ATG CrossFit and Bubishi Karate. I'm also known as the Castle King. My skills include remembering one-liners from movies and lifting more than most girls at the gym. Nick Chalmers, coach at ATG CrossFit, karate instructor at Bubishi Karate, possible vampire and master of dad jokes.
Hi, I'm Kyle Chalmers,
vertically challenged and horizontally encouraged head coach of ATG CrossFit.
And you're listening to Gym Owner Jams. Welcome to another episode of Gym Owner Jams. This week we're going to talk on a variety of things that has been happening in the CrossFit world. We had some things coming out of HQ. Seems they're a lot more enthusiastic than in past. Then we had the Rogue Invitational. There was an online competition that was held this past weekend, which personally I thought was incredible. And then we're just going to talk about things that we used to do before CrossFit. Guys, first off, maybe a little update. What happened from HQ side?
Yeah, so no huge major changes, but they do seem to be putting out a lot more media than what they used to. Dave Castro's put out a few tweets and things like that explaining that change is a process, it's going to take time, but please bear with them, which is quite interesting to see. It's something that we haven't seen for a while. And yeah, I don't know what else.
And we had, I just saw now that they're making these CrossFit reps for specific states in America. It'll probably filter through to South Africa. And just on a personal level, communicating with affiliate support, which is basically an email that was, I think, unattended for 3 years. All of a sudden you get your responses quite quickly. So from an admin's perspective, it certainly seems as if there's a bit of a shake-up.
Yeah, look, I think they're going to have to. I mean, what choice do they really have?
Absolutely.
It's really at a tipping point at the moment. I think cooler heads will prevail at the end of the day. I mean, we've spoken about it on numerous occasions now, and obviously it's been a couple of days, maybe a week or so, and things have sort of settled a little bit, and we've got to a little bit more of reality. We start to see that people make mistakes, obviously, but we need to see as an organization what they're going to do about it. And so far, I think slowly but surely we're starting to see more action. I mean, you must realize that we haven't seen much from CrossFit HQ in 5 years. They cut their media, they cut a whole bunch of things over the years, and we haven't really seen any concrete response from HQ in terms of what they're doing. So now at least that's a positive where things are moving that way. So let's see. Like we said, we're going to wait and see what we're going to do on that from that perspective. But at least you got a reply to an email, which is a first.
A very friendly reply at that, which is great. Like I said, the idea has always been community. I think specifically in South Africa, we are very segregated in our community. So we will have our community, and boxers across the region will have their communities. Hopefully we can become a bigger part of a bigger thing where they support both ways, and that will be great. But I don't exactly know how that's going to unfold. We'll see. For now, we're sticking to our guns where we're still affiliated, but happy to keep our name ATG Fitness. And I don't know if we'll change it back. I know we're jumping off topic here, but we have diversified into something more than just CrossFit. We will probably not de-affiliate. We'll keep the CrossFit as part of it, but it's the way to go. Our dreams are bigger than just a CrossFit gym.
It was interesting to see today, or I don't know if it was today or yesterday, that Morning Chalk Up posted a survey that they did with gyms around the world. I don't know if you guys saw that, where they talked about gyms losing members, and apparently on the whole, as a survey, it came back that most gyms are actually returning with more members than they had before lockdown. I'm guessing that's got to do with the fact that the community, obviously, they rallied together and started supporting their local boxers and things like that, and people got tired of not being able to go to Globo gyms, so they decided to jump on things. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty exciting to see this morning, that gyms worldwide will have a whole bunch of new members that they didn't have before lockdown.
Well, I'm not going to complain if a bunch of new members rock up here.
I really hope that happens. We've really our aim has obviously been to keep everybody engaged and to try and keep our members, giving them something to do. So hopefully that shines through at the end of the day when we reopen. You know, hopefully people have enjoyed that, and that keeps them coming back, or that actually pushes them to come back into the gym and bring a trawl of friends and family with them. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, I think, but we must also we really need to, you know, when this is all said and done, we really need to thank the core group of members that we've had that have stuck around. I mean, we've tried our best to keep them engaged and things like that, but there are, I mean, a couple of members who from the start haven't been really involved in the online stuff. It's not really their vibe, but they're still paying their memberships, they're still part of the gym. So yes, they're part of the community, but I think we've got to thank those people for just showing their support, having faith that we will eventually open.
And that was interesting. We did a internal survey where we were concerned about level 3, and one of the questions was that would you still pay fees if we do not open in level 3? And 75% of the people said yes, they would. And like you mentioned, not all 75% of them actively followed our program, which speaks volumes to this community aspect of CrossFit, in my opinion. I mean, the people wanted to pay to want something to come back to. Yes, we did a lot of stuff in the background with the online following, but even myself, I'm finding myself difficult to get motivated to train every day like we used to. A lot of us thrive in the social environment, so we're not really great at training by ourselves, but we've seen a lot of members willing to pay that premium to come back to something, because they sort of realize that they do not want to do this for the rest of their life and train by themselves in a Globo gym setup again. So that's quite interesting. Then quickly, we locally went from level 3 to level 3 light last night, which is very interesting and exciting change, because it seems that we might be falling into a category where there's a possibility that we could open to some degree within the next couple of weeks. Again, I mean, it's like the cigarette ban that could be brought in front of you and just yanked away. But funny enough, how my mind, and I just mentioned it, you know, all of a sudden I can't fathom myself training again. The excitement is like a little child that's going to be led into a Toys R Us and just, you know, buy what you want.
Yeah, I think it's going to, I mean, it's exciting, but logistically it's going to take a lot of work, I think. Yeah. I mean, with not having any of our equipment and having loaned it out to the members, it's going to take a lot of work to get all of that stuff back. What do we do with members that are not so keen to come back into the gym just yet? Do we take that to get the equipment back from them? It's going to be a difficult process. I think we're going to have to try and work a little bit harder on that. But just like we had to kind of shift everything online, and I mean, that has given us a whole bunch of opportunities to do things that we would never have done in the past. I mean, this podcast that we've done now for how many weeks in a row, we would never have done that if it wasn't for being online. So I think it's going to present itself with new challenges, but it's exciting. I just hope that when we do come back, like you said, the hard work and the dedication from especially the members pays off, and we start to get just more people noticing our community a little bit more and start to grow, just so we can keep giving the best possible service that we can.
Yeah, I mean, strange, I was thinking about it this morning. Things that we used to be so conditioned to, or used to be so part and parcel of what we do, now we're not used to them anymore. I'm not used to hearing people breathe heavily when they work out. I'm not used to hearing music when we're working out. I'm not used to people wasting time getting equipment. I'm not used to sweat everywhere. You know, these types of things we're going to have to sort of find out what they're all about again, which is going to be kind of weird, you know, kind of keeping your distance from everybody. I suppose it will help with that. But these are the things that we've not been exposed to in the lockdown are now going to come back into play, which I think is going to be a weird thing to adjust to, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, when we got those survey results back and a couple of people mentioned, can we please have a few longer workouts? I was shocked. I was like, guys, it's exactly the same. Nothing's changed. You know, the programming's the same. You still have your warm-up. You still have some sort of skill or core work or something before. a workout and a cool down afterwards. So the actual working time frames are the same, but you forget that people like Striker must go to the toilet 7 times before they train, and people must go and talk rubbish in the bathroom, and then people must get the wrong dumbbell, and so all that stuff takes up a good 10 to 15 minutes of your class. When you've got access to it right by you, it goes like this, you know. So we've got to get used to all of that. Time frames in the class are going to change, but yeah, it's going to be very cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, let's hope sanity prevails and we can open. I mean, we can put our own strict hygiene guidelines in place, I think better than government, so allow us to showcase what we can do. And like you said, it's seriously exciting, seriously challenging, but we've never stepped back from a challenge, so that's something I look forward to. Then Rogue Invitational, I mean, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It was incredible to watch.
Now, we could just be saying this because we haven't seen any real live sport for 7 years. And this is probably the first CrossFit thing that's come across the table within this year that we can remember.
I don't know. I watched the New Zealand version of Super Rugby this weekend, and it was not nearly as exciting as the Rogue Invitational. So, I mean...
No, I mean, but again, just the amount of effort to pull that off. Because you look at those things, and I know the effort you guys put in to set up a podcast. Can you imagine trying to get 8 or 10 streams running simultaneously on the same spot?
You know, just from
crazy.
Like logistically, they planned it so well. They sent out to the athletes to the square meterage to where their rower must be placed. You know, so from the next piece of equipment. So it was honestly incredible to watch. I'm not sure how they did it, but it seemed like they had a Rogue representative running the feed at every single gym that was running. It was also cool to see that, you know, so many of those athletes are so close to one another without having any idea of those people being around them. So if you look at the finishes and everything, they're all within 30 seconds or so of one another.
But you can see which athletes feed off a crowd normally and which athletes are okay training by themselves and are sort of hermits that train in their own gym.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at a Lucas Hogberg, for example, that guy, for me, definitely is a crowd athlete.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the workouts, especially day one.
Noah Olsen as well. Noah Olsen, there was lots of times where Noah Olsen dropped a barbell or just took a little bit longer than what he would usually do to get to the bar than he would in a competition. That guy is like all about the excitement of the crowd.
But can we just talk about Tia Claire Toomey? I'm almost convinced that if you put her in the men's category, she would podium. I feel that. I mean, even the weightlifting. I mean, she clean and jerked 270.
Wow!
Whoa!
Okay. All right, let's just go home now. Let's just go home.
Whoa!
It's a...
So there's
122.5 kilograms or something.
Call it 123 kilos. Okay, now,
Insane.
guys in this gym, there's maybe 4 people that have
Not
that.
me.
Yeah, that have that clean and jerk. Not me anymore, I guess. That have that clean and jerk in the bank, and that is really pushing the limits of what we've got. Now, what I heard afterwards was that she had the ability to go up to, they were planning on their card, old Shane over there,
I think it was 290.
was planning to go to 290. Now, I don't know what the poundage is there, but I think that's pushing...
300 pounds is 130, so it's about 125, somewhere around there.
127, maybe around there somewhere, which is insane. I mean, not just for a girl, for anybody. That's ridiculous. And she did it so smoothly, so cleanly. And what's more exciting for me is it wasn't just the weightlifting that she dominated, which for me is just shows the kind of athlete. I mean, if you want to be an athlete, that's the kind of athlete you want to be. You know, someone who can win an endurance event and win the weightlifting event. I mean, where are the holes?
I think Sean Woodland summed it up in that clean and jerk event when he said, someone quickly stopped Tia Claire Toomey from doing the next lift. Everyone's getting scared at home. I think that's that was kind of the whole weekend. Was she just dominated? She whipped through. I think Valna's performance was also pretty dominant.
Yeah.
You know, and for a guy that we don't really know what's going on, but if you follow him on social media, it doesn't seem like he's had that much access to a gym lately. Most of it's been like modified at-home work. It's quite cool to see how those guys can pull off even so close to a PB clean and jerk without not really touching a barbell that often. It's awesome to see.
But that's the difference between these top tier athletes and the rest of us, right? I think if you look statistically, there are probably a lot of people that have these numbers across the board. There's a lot of guys around the world who have got heavy weightlifting numbers, especially in the CrossFit world. There's some local guys that can clean and jerk 160 kilos. We've seen it happen, you know. There's some guys who will beat a games athlete in an open workout here and there across these anomalies that fall into place. But these guys like Pat Vellner, they just have the superior mental state. They just have the superior mental game that carries them throughout a competition like that. Like you say, the guy has probably not had access or the same access to the training that he has previously, but yet he pulls out a performance, such a dominant performance, regardless. And that, for me, is just mental game. I mean, the lesson is in the mental game, because I don't think that any of those athletes are dissimilar. I think all of those athletes are capable of winning it numbers-wise. But you've got that guy at the top, Pat Vellner, who can jump on the assault bike at the end of a workout and just smash it, where Hepner said it, where it looks like he's on a Sunday ride, and Vellner is smashing that bike. I mean, that's mental game.
I liked, like if you run through your highlights of the weekend, I would probably say when it came to the weightlifting, it was maybe Coach Bergner telling us how bad Chandler Smith was, and then him still winning the event.
Here's Chandler Smith, who just by sheer force of will was able to make this lift.
Look at his left leg. Oh my goodness. So strong.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool for me. Jacob Hepner's constant back and forth with the rest of the athletes on social media was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. He was just awesome to watch.
Sitting eating mangoes in front of the camera after his workout.
And those fire Cheetos or whatever. Those like hot Cheeto things. It was very cool to see.
Yeah, and it's like you said, I mean, we're so hungry for sports that initially I thought it was not going to be nearly as good as that, but for them to pull it off like that, I think the stats yesterday, they had over 1 million live views of their feed through the course of the weekend, which is incredible for a sport that, it's not as big yet, but it certainly is drawing attention in the right ways. And funny enough, this wasn't they removed the CrossFit from their name, so this was a fitness exhibition, and you still had 1 million people watch it. So something to be said about not just CrossFit, but the functional fitness landscape in the world, and it's growing. It's certainly growing. We spoke about last week where MMA is growing. People are definitely migrating away from static type exercises to this functional fitness, Spartan races, MMA style training. And it's great to see, because then you can truly crown the fittest person on earth if it's not specific to one sport.
Well, I think the aesthetic value of what you look like is very limited, and people are starting to, across the board, realize this. And I think that's the growth of our society, where 15, 20 years ago, if you ripped and cut and in shape, you are healthy and fit, and that's what was considered. Now people know more about science. People realize that you can be in shape and have a heart attack, so they're starting to see that being generally fit and overall fitness is more valuable than whether you have a six-pack or not. And I think
just look at Striker last week. He beat us all in the workout, but he basically used Melissa's weight for the whole one. So, that doesn't count. Come on.
Which brings us probably to our next topic, is the Winter Games, hey?
Yes, we in the third week. This is taking place within an hour's time from now.
Winter is coming.
And we had a matchup where we picked the midget Carl here against one of our stronger girls, Marlene, one of our members, and we ran a poll on our WhatsApp group, and it was unanimous that was your challenger. So
She didn't choose. I think she was pushed into it. She was neoed.
I don't know. I'm incredibly nervous. If you look at, I've coached a few of the Zoom classes that she's been on, and her home gym looks like Dave Castro's ranch, with all the equipment in there, with the pull-up bars and the rigs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm incredibly nervous. She's probably been training a lot harder than I have, so we'll see.
And then this week we have to say that Nick programmed the workout, so Carl does not know what the workout is. So that's going to be quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was very hard for me not to be vindictive when I programmed the workout.
Because you were on the receiving end last weekend. Is that right?
So put yourself in my shoes, okay? I'm 63 years old. I get to the gym, haven't trained in the gym for months, and you get something that is clusters and box step-ups. I'm also 3 feet tall. So
and you did have to go against Hodor. I mean, Mike, basically, if there's one thing Mike can do, it's lunge and box step-ups.
You know, and I mean, that guy just steals the limelight all the time, no matter what he does. So I thought that was vindictive. So, you know what I mean? So for me to program your workout, I had to really just get zen about it.
So, in other words, I'm expecting dumbbell squat snatches and dumbbell overhead squats, all of them today. That's what I'm expecting.
Well, listen, we also hope for that because we need to just laugh a bit. Speaking of Zen, we are going to talk about a bit of what we did before we did CrossFit. Now, we all know Nick's background, but I think it's useful for him to share this with our community.
Well, what do you want to know?
I just want to know how hipster you were.
Well, I come from a world that's not understood by many. Let's just put it that way. So,
a world of long hair and ukuleles.
These guys call it long hair and ukuleles. I mean, truth be told, they don't know the difference between a guitar and a ukulele, so we can forgive them for that. You know, Kurt Darren is on the top of Choki's playlist, so you don't know what kind of music he's been into growing up. But my life, whether you would like to believe it or not, has not always been about fitness and sports. I used to try to be a very bad musician when I was younger, and I thought that if I grew my hair out long and I wore baggy pants, walked around with a skateboard and a guitar, then people would think I was cool. And I was really cool. I mean, if I'm honest with you, in my mind, I was really cool. So that was my history. And then eventually...
insert picture here of him thinking how cool he was.
Yeah. And after living or trying to achieve that pipe dream for a few years in my early 20s, that was like 20 years ago, I decided, well, maybe my path is elsewhere. So I moved across into the MMA scene for a little bit, and then from there that took me into CrossFit. Yeah.
And then you got to preface that with the fact that you've been doing karate your whole life.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have been doing karate my whole life. I can't really take credit for that because when you're 3 years old, you can't make decisions. So my parents kind of forced me into it. When I say forced, I wasn't complaining too much. So now, I think in April, how old am I now? It would have been 31 years of karate.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So there's some serious commitment there.
Well...
And I'll still beat you with a pipe.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, the difference between training and watching a lot of TV, we'll have to see how that matchup plays out.
Fair
so
enough.
In terms of that now, Chooks, give us a bit of a background of you before CrossFit days, because, I mean, my fun little story about the first time I judged you, yeah. I didn't see you becoming a CrossFitter or actually sticking this out. So what was the...
So, I mean, I went to varsity after school with the pipe dream of playing for the Lions and bigger things on the rugby scene. But I also enjoyed drinking too much, and I hated the gym. So you can see there was a bit of an imbalance going on there for the dreams to be realized. Left varsity without reaching those goals. So then I took on to golf as my sport. So I was a phenomenal 15 handicap, and after 6 months of golf, walking the course was too difficult, so I used a cart, took a 6-pack of beer with me for the first 9 and another 6-pack for the second 9, and picked up about 13 kilograms in a space of 18 months. So the straw that broke the camel's back, I'm starting to love that saying, was when my wife Bianca took me to a boot camp session. It was at one of these wedding venues in Mildersdrift, and she completely humiliated me with basic bodyweight things like push-ups and stepping onto like a wall and things that I nowadays claim I'm very good at. So she destroyed me, and I thought to myself, this is a turning point for my fitness journey. And yeah, then joined the gym where these guys coached, and I don't know how long it was, a month in, they forced me to do the open, and then you can take over from there. Nick, I think that was 14 point something.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was the thrusters and burpee over bar workout, right? So I think the workout to lay down, some of you might have done it. It's 21 down to 3 basically, in three rep increments, and you go thrusters with, I think, a 43 kilo bar, and then you go burpee over bar. Horrendous workout. I mean, it's not a workout you want to jump into RX, your first open, a month into it. It's just horrible. And I'll be honest, Chalky wasn't in the best of shape when he started. I mean, that's putting it nicely. And I think we got to the round of 15.
Yeah, it was not very far into that workout.
Round of 15, and this guy just said, time out. That's it. I'm done. What did you say? Your back was sore?
I don't even know. I just remember I didn't even watch the rest of them. I just left.
He bailed. So if you guys ever felt bad about bailing on a workout,
I got in my car and left.
Chalky
straight
disappeared.
away.
I thought, that's it. I even said to the other coaches at the gym, look, maybe it was a mistake. I think this guy's going to cancel. I don't think he's going to come back. Here we are 6 years later, and we're running a gym together.
Yeah.
Never thought that would happen.
And then down to the young one, the young buck.
I think I need to first let everyone know that I'm much, much younger than Nicholas. It really offends me when our members say that I'm the older brother. It's really, really horrible. I mean, he's about, 10 years older than me, so...
7, let's be accurate.
Okay,
7 years older than you.
7 years older than me, which is a lot.
It's wisdom.
And
it's wisdom.
Yeah, my background, I grew up doing karate with Nicholas and being beaten up by Nicholas my whole life.
It also has to be said, he has also been doing karate since he was 3 years old. He's only 7 now, but since he was 3.
So growing up obviously with Nick and them doing karate was something I was also kind of forced to do. But it's just been a way of life. We've always done it. We probably will always do it forever. And then I played a lot of rugby. I was average at rugby. I was always too short and too fat to play the game.
Above average for an English oak from North.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. If I'd gone to a different school, maybe people would have been like, that guy's not so great.
Well, let's put it in perspective. If we talk about what you did, I mean, you played some decent level.
Rugby.
You played district level rugby. I mean, you were the first team captain at Northcliffe for 2 years. It was really good for your English school.
It's Northcliffe High School. That doesn't.
I mean, it's not an Afrikaans school. It's not a course.
And it was 1 year. It was my matric year.
Your matric year.
It was my matric year. And then I played a little bit for UJ, and then I injured myself playing for UJ, and then started training with Nick when he got into the fight scene, and just realized that the fighting thing is not really me. Don't have the temperament to be a fighter. And we started training, started doing CrossFit and other things just to get in shape, and then kind of like everyone else says, you fall in love with the sport, and that's where we are now. And I taught CrossFit kids for about 7 years. We wasn't allowed to coach a real class, but it's okay. I'm here now.
But you were like 17 back then.
No, I wasn't. I was 21, Chooks. Come on now. I was a man.
I just remember Kyle coming into the gym. So way back when, this was in the days of the Open in that same year, then Nick was sort of pushed to do the heats with the bigger oaks, and Kyle would be like in the second heat with all the randos, and he would just destroy them. And this was 2014, so it was, I don't even know. I think myself now would probably be better than that 2014 version of you, but I just love the fact that he went into, like, they threw him into a mediocre heat, and then he smashed some of the oaks in the big heat, which was quite exciting. All right, guys, that's enough about us for this week. We're gonna end it off there, and we're gonna leave it to Nick to finish with one of his legendary dad jokes.
You guys are funny, but I got a confession to make. I'm a pretty funny guy myself.
Alright guys, the dad joke for the day. It's a zinger. One day I'd like to be a millionaire just like my dad. He also wants to be a millionaire.
Thanks for listening to our Gym Owner Jams podcast. Keep an eye out for the next one coming soon.